Day 50. Leviticus chapter 19, 20 and 21. Holiness is not just spiritual. It is relational. You may ask, how? Let me use this whisper to explain. In chapter 19, God says, "Do not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block in front of the blind, but fear your God. I am the Lord." He says, don't harm someone who cannot see it coming. Don't exploit weakness. Mocking someone online who doesn't know you. Taking advantage of someone who trusts you. Manipulating someone emotionally because you know they won't fight back. Cutting corners because no one will notice. God connects this command with one phrase. Fear your God. Why? Because even if they don't see, God sees. Holiness is not just about worship songs and church attendance. It's about how you treat people who can't repay you. True spirituality is revealed in private integrity. The next whisper is on how boundaries protect purpose. Do not mate different kinds of animals. Do not plant your field with two kinds of seed. At first glance it sounds like agricultural regulation. But underneath it is a deeper principle. God cares about order. God cares about distinction. God cares about boundaries. In a culture that constantly blurs lines, moral lines, relational lines, identity lines, this speaks loudly. Everything doesn't mix. Not every influence belongs in your life. Not every relationship is healthy. Not every partnership is wise. Some mixtures dilute purpose. If you are seeking God, one question matters. What am I mixing into my life that God never planted there? Holiness often begins with separation. Not isolation from people, but protection of purpose. In Leviticus chapter 19, God instructs Israel that when they plant fruit trees they must not eat the fruit for 3 years. In the 4th year, the fruit is to be offered as praise to the Lord. Only in the 5th year may they eat it freely. Imagine planting something, watching it grow and not touching it. Why would God do that? Because sometimes growth is more important than consumption. We live in an instant world. Instant answers, instant success, instant gratification. But God builds depth through delay. Sometimes the reason you cannot eat what you planted yet is because God is training your patience. The 4th year fruit was called holy, praise to the Lord. So before you enjoy the blessing, learn to dedicate it. That changes everything. Moving on, we come across this verse with a strong language. Why such seriousness? This is because seeking supernatural guidance outside of God is not harmless curiosity, it's spiritual betrayal. This may not look like ancient mediums. It may look like horoscopes determining your decisions, manifestation practices detached from God, spiritual influencers who mix truth with deception, consulting energy instead of consulting God. The heart issue is this. Who do you trust for direction? God doesn't want to compete with other voices in your life. When we seek substitutes, we slowly drift from the source. If you are seeking God, even imperfectly, He honors that pursuit. He responds to those who turn to Him. Keep all my decrees, so that the land where I am bringing you to live may not vomit you out. The land vomiting people out. What does it mean? It means environments reject sustained corruption. Sin is not just personal. It affects systems, families, communities, nations. When injustice, immorality, and violence become normalized, environments become unstable. We see this today in broken homes, distrust in leadership, communities overwhelmed by violence. God's laws were not random restrictions. They were protective structures for sustainable life. Holiness isn't just about going to heaven, it's about creating environments that can sustain blessing. If you want your land, your home, your career, your calling, to thrive, build it on obedience. Then we read of the strict instructions for priests. They must not shave their heads or shave off the edges of their beards or cut their bodies. This wasn't about grooming preferences. These practices were connected to pagan mourning rituals and idol worship. God was teaching them something profound. Don't let culture dictate your identity. You belong to me. Today, identity pressure is enormous. Dress like this, believe like that, perform this way to belong. But when you belong to God, your identity is rooted, not reactive. Holiness means your life is not shaped by trends, but by truth. Now we come to one of the most misunderstood parts. None of your descendants who has a defect may come near to offer the food of his God. Once again, this sounds harsh, but the passage does not say the person is rejected from God. It says they cannot perform the priestly sacrificial duty. In fact, the text makes clear they still eat the holy food. They still belong, They are still part of the community. The issue was not value, it was symbolism. The priest represented wholeness before God, in a symbolic system of sacrifices. Today, we are not under that ceremonial system. And here is the beautiful encouragement. Your physical limitation, past mistake, emotional scar, or weakness, does not disqualify you from belonging to God. The Old Covenant had symbolic restrictions, but the heart of God has always been mercy. If anything, Leviticus teaches us how serious holiness is, so that we appreciate grace even more. If you are seeking God right now, maybe imperfectly, maybe struggling, here is what Leviticus 19-21 whispers beneath the rules. God cares how you treat the vulnerable. God values boundaries. God honors patience. God wants your loyalty. God protects environments through obedience. God calls you to distinct identity. God does not discard those who belong to Him. Holiness is not about being flawless. It's about being set apart. And being set apart starts in the ordinary. How you speak. How you plant. How you wait. How you choose voices. How you treat people who cannot repay you. Leviticus may look ancient, but its heartbeat is timeless. God is still saying, "Be holy, because I am holy." And the beautiful truth is, He would not call you to it if He was not willing to walk with you through it.